We are so excited to have Jordan here with us. It's Jordan Zevon. He is our ADAO spokesperson.
Oh, Jesus.
He is here to talk about his father, Warren Zevon, Record Store Day. And we are lucky enough to have a little special performance by him. At the end of the segment, we'll have a Q&A. So if you have any questions, there is a chat function on like the bottom right corner. So just type your questions in there and I will pass them on to Linda and Jordan. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Linda, who is the president and co-founder of the Asbestos Disease Awareness Organization.
So yay. So good morning to everybody who is on this conversation Zoom event with Jordan. I'm excited about this. Jordan and I are like brother and sister. So if you see a little stuff going back and forth, that's just what family does. Before we get started, Jordan, I want to throw a couple slides up just to frame it with some of the people that make our work possible. So if you'll bear with me for 1 second, we're going to go ahead and do that. Don't be doing goofy stuff. So, hopefully this will work. So obviously it's a conversation. We have some green box here, which I'm not sure why we have that. But anyway, it's a conversation with Jordan, as everyone knows, and our work is truly made possible by those who allow us to fund our advocacy, education, and community support work. So I want to really thank our platinum sponsors, Simmons, Hanley, Conroy, our gold sponsors, American Federation of Teachers, Motley Rice, and then we have silver sponsors, Early, Lucarelli, Sweeney, Meisenkoten, Omaze, a great nonprofit company that helped us raise money through a trip to Hawaii, Whites in Luxembourg, and our bronze sponsor, which is the Heat and Frost Insulator Union. So that being said, we are ready to go, Jordan. And for those of you on this call, you're going to get to hear a special message and a whole lot about Record Store Day. So with that, Jordan, let's just kind of kick this around and off. So Jordan, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and with all the humor that you always have, give it a go. Who are you?
Well, I'm the son of Warren Zevon. I've been playing music since I can't remember when. I started playing drums on pillows with plastic spoons. And since then, I've been publicist. I've been an ex-husband. I've been a lot of things, but this lady called me one day and she said, "Would you like to be the national spokesperson for our agency?" I don't know what you call it, for ADAO. And I remember running to my ex-wife and saying like, "Oh my God, they want me to be a spokesperson." And then Linda and Emily came over and they were just the most lovely, pleasant people that I could have ever imagined. This was right after my dad passed away. And then, unfortunately, my mom passed away from cancer about 6 months later. And that was pretty much all the family that I had. And so Linda and Emily really became family. We've had all kinds of adventures over the years at the conferences, and I will not say anything you don't want me to say, but we got trapped in Washington, DC with like 7 feet of snow. And that's when I decided to describe every inappropriate nickname you could have for let's call it intercourse. And we were just rolling on the floor. And it's her sense of humor and her warmth and her caring and everything else that has gotten me through the good times and the bad times. And she's just somebody that I truly adore.
Well, I love you, Jordan. I was telling those people who got on a little bit early that we have sort of an unusual brother-sister relationship, but makes it really fun and very open. So when Alan, Emily, and I came over to talk to you about being a national spokesperson, obviously that was, I think, 2000, 3 or 4? I can't really remember.
Probably 4. No, it was probably 3 because I think my mom was still around.
Okay. So, you know, a lot obviously has happened in the last 17 years. And I think what you've done for us and for ADAO is so important for a listener to understand how you're able to really advance and expand our art advocacy and academia, because that's how we reach new people to help them understand about that asbestos is still legal and lethal in the US today. So as national spokesperson, you have gone to briefings, you've spoken to members of Congress, you have done press conferences and been to our conference. That's a lot. So kind of in a nutshell, tell people, what does it feel like when you as a musician head over to Washington and you start sharing your story? What's that feel like, and what do you think you accomplish?
Well, it's a little bit of a 50-50 because I feel proud of what we're trying to do, and I feel frustrated by how long we've been trying to do it. I mean, I thought when, you know, my favorite story is when we met with Senator Reid, we walked out of his office, Obama came out of the hall, and he said, where do I go next? And I said, White House? And he kind of smiled and walked away. And we have our selfie with Booker and like all these things. I just thought like we'd pretty much like, we would have nailed it and it would just be like backyard barbecues and stuff like that. It's just, or the conferences would continue to support families and victims and those kind of things. But the fact that we're still looking after a ban just feels incredibly bizarre.
Yeah, and you've been able to, with Representative Cohen, who was one of the first lawmakers who ever reached out, Jordan, said he wanted to support ADAO based on his love for your father. So how old were you when your father was first diagnosed? Because as a young guy looking at your father, not understanding, I remember when Alan was diagnosed, we'd never heard of mesothelioma, couldn't pronounce it, and then soon learned it's a lethal and aggressive cancer caused from asbestos. So that being said, how old were you? And then that journey with your father, I know it's always hard to share, but do you want to share any of those life lessons? Because I think when you share your story about your father, it drives it home that it can happen to anyone, right? There are no boundaries with mesothelioma. Do you feel like?
Well, I was 33. And he called me at work and told me that he was very sick, and I could tell by the tone in his voice that this wasn't like, you know, the flu, to quote him on Letterman. And it might sound kind of trite or you know, making something else of it, but I literally, like, the world changed. Like, I walked outside of my office, which was right like off the street, and it's like colors changed, brightness changed, everything changed. Like, I just felt like my world had been completely rocked. And then the second thing that came about was we went to a Mexican restaurant that we both liked, and I was facing the window, he was facing the bathroom, and he got up to go to the bathroom, and I saw him walk away, and I was just like, I almost started sobbing because it represented the idea that, you know, that I'm going to lose this man. And he had kind of a rocky journey through his life, but by the time I was 13, we'd connected and we became extremely close. And so, you know, that was difficult during his sickness. I think that he tried to spare me as much as he could. I saw him sometimes, but he was making his final record. And then once he was done with the record, and we almost lost him. He was diagnosed in, I think it was August, and we almost lost him over the Christmas break because he had just slid into this huge depression. And I actually had to camp out in front of his door for hours until he finally opened it, and I got him like a cleaning crew and nurses and things like that. And then after that, it became a little bit brighter. I'd go visit him, I'd lay in bed next to him, and we'd watch Jeopardy, and I would like struggle to make sure that I answered as many questions as I could to impress him. And we cried, and he told me he was scared, and I understood. And then after he died, you know, the things that I know, there's plenty of people who are part of ADAO that have been through this kind of experience, but there was like an indent in his bed, and I just wept. And since then, I've just tried to do everything I can to carry on his legacy and make people appreciate his music. There's been this long time thing. I think I don't even know how big the group is at this point of people trying to induct him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think it's a travesty that he's not. And you know, I think about him and my mom every day, and we've done some things recently as well as Judd's thing, which is just absolutely lovely. We put out Excitable Boy on glow-in-the-dark red vinyl. We put out Life Will Kill Ya, and you know, we've done some really special stuff. So
no, it's huge. Your father has such a vast musical career and so classically trained that his music is just, it lives on, and you have a large community that truly loves your dad and you, obviously. When you went to Washington, went to the press conference, I think it's 2007, ADAO did product testing to show that asbestos without a ban could still be found in consumer products and even a kid's toy. And I remember the way you say stuff when the journalists were there and you were talking about duct tape, which we had found asbestos. What's it feel like as a musician when you go through your everyday life, knowing what your father went through and you and your family and your beautiful daughter who doesn't get to know her grandfather in the way that you would love her to? What's it feel like when you know so much about asbestos and the policy behind it, and you want to kind of scream at the top of your lungs? Because I know you've done that to a few work sites and stuff. So with your knowledge, how does that impact what you do in your everyday life?
You know, so they were building a house next. I mean, with the duct tape and everything else, it's just, I just told all my musician friends, like, if you're like me, you have cables taped to the floor, and you're going to take them off, because duct tape tends to turn into dust if it's been there long enough. And I said, just please, you know, at the very least, wear gloves and a mask and just protect yourself. But we had these people that were working on a building next door, and let's just say that they haven't been the greatest neighbors, like leaving the porta potty unlocked so people could just randomly use it, like in the middle of the night. And I went over there at one point, and I didn't want to be mean or anything, but I just told them, you know, what my responsibility was with ADAO, and said, did you guys check this place for asbestos? I mean, do you know what it can do to you? Do you know that one little fiber can get into your lung and you can bring it home to your family on your clothes and everything else? And the next thing you know, there was an asbestos removal truck. So, I mean, it affects me in that way. And then this, like, no offense. I mean, I guess she's a talented kid. She irritates the crap out of me, but this JoJo something and her makeup line that had asbestos in it. And it's just unacceptable. It's not the way life should be. I mean, we should not have to worry about this anymore. We have, and especially now, I mean, good Lord. And with this administration, I don't think anything is going to get done. So it's like we just have to keep living with it. And it, you know, it's all, there's that old expression, it's all fun and games till someone loses an eye. And it's all fun and games till someone you love dies. And I just think that there are too many politicians that don't, I don't know, that don't want to deal with an issue other than what's like directly on their plate. And they don't feel like this is directly on their plate.
But the good news is you do have reach, especially as national spokesperson with your career and people that used to play with your father in the bands, Jackson Brown and so many others. I don't want to start naming because I'll probably.
Well, Jackson got the virus too. I mean, like.
Yeah, so there's so many people that love your dad. If we could just corral more people and people on this call, we have a couple opportunities. So we do have the Alan Reinstein Ban Asbestos Now Act. It's a bicameral bill, which means it's in both the House and the Senate. It's even bipartisan, and we are looking to have all of you help us move it to the House floor in September. So we need all of your help. But we have some exciting stuff. And Jordan, before you start performing, there are a couple quick things. Will you share about Record Store Day? Like, kind of like, what is it? How can people get involved? And then I have a very special message to play after you share your bit about Record Store Day.
Well, I am not the most educated man in the world. My friends joke about how like often I wasn't at high school, but it wasn't because of like, you know, any substances or anything. My brain was wound too tight, and I used to just walk around and like listen to music and then of course the available job for me was working at a record store. And I was the youngest singles buyer at Tower Records. Then I worked at the warehouse for a week, which sucked. And that's gone. And then I worked at a independent record store called Penny Lane. And then I owned my own record store. And I actually, like, one of the most reoccurring dreams I have is working at Penny Lane, but then realizing I haven't been filling out my time card. I don't know what that's about, but I loved it. I loved people asking me like, who does this and who does that? And then because I was a buyer, I loved the concept of trying to figure out what was going to be the next big thing and like trying to call it, you know, so when all the big chains were out of something, we'd have it. And I just have such an affection for record stores. And I mean, thank God we didn't do it yet. But my high school friend and I were talking about opening, because we live near Westwood Village, which is pretty much where I grew up, near UCLA. And we talked about opening a book/record store. And, you know, it would have been closed already. But I just have such an affinity for vinyl and for independent shops, and it's just heartbreaking that even though it's nice that the piracy has ended, so Spotify is in the iTunes, they pay their artists, even though I think it's arguable if they pay them enough, that you can't just go into a record store. I mean, it was so affordable, or not affordable, it was so beneficial to artists to be able to sell records. And if you had a hit record, you sold 1 million records, then you made a whole lot of money. And now artists really have to rely on touring and stuff like that. So you can imagine how many people are hurting, because I don't know if you've been to any concerts lately, but you know, it's a lot of my friends, their revenue has just kind of disappeared. So it just means Record Store Day means a lot to me. I hope that it's going to happen on the date that it's planned. I hope that people are responsible. I mean, I hate those masks more than anyone. I have the Dodger ones. I have the K95 ones. I have these ones. And by the time I leave the grocery store after, like, you know, where I go once a week, I'm just like, but it's what you have to do.
Yeah, it's what we have to do. So you have some great people behind Record Store Day and the album that's going to be featuring your dad. And you were able to ask, and I don't know how that actually came about, but it's very cool. You actually have ADAO on the back of the album, where percentage of the proceeds or something will go to ADAO, but more
Yeah.
you're going to be raising awareness with your record store day. So talk a little bit about that album, the cuts on the album, because then I want to play a video because there is a special message. Your dad's career involved a lot of other musicians, and maybe when you want to talk about the songs on the record store day album, maybe there's some musicians that you want to also throw some credit out to.
Fortunately, I don't have a copy of it yet. I've seen the artwork, but I should have done a little. I was having technical difficulties. I should have had it in front of me. But no, I mean, look, I have massive respect for Judd's work. I think that he thinks out of the box. I think that he's been a huge supporter of talent. Like with Amy Schumer's movie, Pete Davidson's movie, I sent him an email after I watched it, and just because I thought it was brilliant, and I think people have a misconception about that he's just like this troubled guy, and he might have like had issues or has issues, I don't know, but he's extremely funny, and it was extremely great movie, and he's just an incredibly talented guy, and he's been the first time he and Jackson Browne threw this charity concert for my dad, I was like, what's happening? Like, how is this happening? So I just have a massive amount of respect for him, and I've been following his career. I even I thought this was outstanding, but when he was a kid, he called Larry Fine from the Three Stooges and interviewed him, and Larry just went on and on. So he has such a love of comedy, and then I don't know, he's just a genuinely nice guy. I took my girlfriend to the Ivy, and then I saw he and his wife, and they were sitting across the room, and I emailed him later and said I didn't want to bother you guys because she's Leslie Mann, she's a famous actress as well, and he said, don't ever do that again. Come up and say hi. So it was just great, and it was such a surprise, and I think that I don't have it in front of me, but I think that the choices were very kind of all over his career, as opposed to being just like a simple greatest hits. And the artwork is fantastic, and I'm just sad that people haven't been able to see it yet.
But they're going to get a taste of it. So I have a special video that I'd like to share. Judd is amazing. I know some of his team is on the call now, Rhino Records and others. And out of love for your dad and you, I'd like to play a little video here. So let's hear what this message for you, Jordan.
Hi there, it's Judd Apatow. I hope you're having a good time with the benefit tonight. I'm so happy to be here to support on video. It's the only way we can support right now, on video and with our checkbooks. I'm such a fan of Warren Zevon and Jordan Zevon and the whole family. Every year we usually put on a benefit where a lot of his friends come and perform his music, and we do it at Largo every year. I'm so sad that we're not able to do it this year, but we are able to do this tonight. I was lucky enough to get to work with Warren Zevon when he appeared on the Larry Sanders Show, and we made him play the French Inhaler over and over again just for our amusement. His music is always such an inspiration to me. It's so emotional and honest and funny, and it's just the tone I'm always trying to hit. So I owe so much to him. He really is such a gigantic influence. And I was asked to put out an album this year for Record Store Day with all of my favorite Warren Zevon songs. So look for that soon. And here is one of them that Jordan is going to sing tonight. I'm so excited. It's Desperados, Under the Eaves. Have fun.
So that's pretty cool, Jordan. That's a great message.
Oh, yeah.
Great work. And Judd, thank you for being part of the team to help raise awareness and also honor, of course, Warren and Jordan, but help us to ban asbestos. So, Jordan, how do you feel about picking up your guitar over there? Because I think if you play a few songs, there might be time for questions. But more importantly, we're going to put together a wrap-up email about this conversation, how people can find your record store album, and also support your work as national spokesperson, and how we can, our collective activism can really shape and move the bill to the House floor this September. So if you want to grab your guitar, we have some time to play Desperados Under the Eaves.
Okay, I'm not grabbing my guitar because we were actually going to do this from my collaborator and best friend Jordan Summers' house, but it was the first day of school. He didn't realize, and we didn't realize you were going to do this in musician land as like the crack of dawn. So, but what he did do is he sent me the piano part. So I have this little speaker here, and hopefully this will all pan out. And I've got the handwritten lyrics, Desperados, which you thought was the Eagles song, which was very cute.
Sorry.
Sold you out, sorry. Okay, let me pull it up. That's what she said.
At least I didn't ask for my shit's fucked up, because that's one of my favorites.
You know, I got to tell you something.
Uh-oh.
I am not the best player in the world. I really just kind of like play to write, and then I get the other guys to do the heavy lifting. And I've asked 3 different people to try to decode that song because it's so funky. I don't know what the tuning is and this kind of stuff. And I've tried and tried and tried. And I wanted to play it today, but I just, like, I need somebody to figure it out for me. So, all right, I might have to, let's see what the volume is like and everything else.
You're just with close friends. So however that plays out for you, there's no.
I was sitting in the Hollywood Hawaiian Hotel. I was staring at my empty coffee cup. I was thinking that the gypsy wasn't lying. All the salty margaritas in Los Angeles, I'm gonna drink them up. And if California slides into the ocean, like the mystics and statistics said, well, I predict this motel will be standing until I pay my bill. Don't the sun look angry through the trees? Don't the trees look like crucified thieves? Don't you feel like desperados under the eaves? Heaven help the one who leaves. Still waking up in the mornings with shaking hands, and I'm trying to find a girl who understands me, but except in dreams you're never really free. Don't the sun look angry at me? I was sitting in the Hollywood Hawaiian Hotel. I was listening to the air conditioner hum, and it went Look away down Gower Avenue. Look away. Look away down Gower Avenue. Look away. Why, thank you all.
Bravo. Thank you. That's great. And that,
The lovely and talented Jordan Summers.
yeah, we love Jordan. We love Jordan Summers. So standing there when your father won that Grammy for Keep Me in Your Heart must have been a moving experience. I don't know if you're up for playing that, but what happens with,
Hold on one sec.
okay, tell UPS to drop the package at the front door. Oh, yeah. So that was the first time I ever held a Grammy was when I met you. And I mean, it's truly bittersweet. The Keep Me in Your Heart song, when I first heard it before I really knew you, Jordan, was just so moving, tied on you like buttons on your blouse or shirt, I can't remember. But that became the song that a lot of us, when we buried our loved ones, we wanted to have Warren sing that song. Are you up for sharing it?
I am, but if you can give me like a minute of time to just tune the guitar and pull up the lyrics to make sure I don't mess anything up.
Yeah, you do.
Perfect.
You do you. If anybody has a quick question, type it into the chat box. I think most of the people on this call are from California. So I am going to give them their senator and representative's number so they can send an email that says, please move the Alan Reinstein bill on behalf of Warren Zevon. We miss him, we love him, and no one else needs to die. Jordan, when you're ready, you tell me and I'll stop babbling.
No, babble.
Okay.
I need babble.
Okay, I'll be babble. I know Maddie and Jason are on this call from Rhino Records, and they will probably give me some social stuff that we can share for Record Store Day. As Jordan talked about, I mean, once upon a time, I mean, I'm old AF, there was something called Tower Records. And we used to go there, we used to hang out, we used to go through the albums, the covers were amazing. I remember Sticky Figure, the Rolling Stones with the zipper on the front. And now with so much Spotify and everything's digital, those artists really don't get the opportunity outside of Record Store Day to push the vinyl, which is a pretty cool thing. And I know Maddie and Jason are working hard on it. So is, of course, Judd. As far as asbestos, we really want you to think about what Jordan said to the construction people while he's tuning his guitar. We want you guys to have all the right information. So we'd like our website at ADAO.us, that's a short one, that you can get all the information that you need about what is asbestos, where is it, and how can I protect myself and my loved ones? Because while we work on a cure, that's great. Prevention is the cure. Prevention and policy to stop the exposure. So Jordan, you just give me thumbs up when you're bona fide ready.
Yeah, I got it. I got it, Mom.
Okay.
Gosh.
If you're ready or you're not ready?
No. I got the lyrics up.
Okay.
Got it tuned up.
So Warren's career spanned, I'm guessing, 40 years. Maybe Jordan will correct me. But he sang with a lot of artists, which is a pretty cool thing. So when Jordan pulls out his father's guitar, I always wonder, like, where exactly was Warren when he was playing this guitar, possibly with Jackson and some of the others. Jordan is very modest about himself and his music career, but also his father. I mean, I was listening to Desperado Under the Eaves, and there's violins in the background that are just amazing. So it has this sort of concert hall sound to the actual instrument. So it's rock and roll, and we totally dig rock and roll, but it also has a classical style, which I find really interesting and appealing. And Representative Cohen, for those of you who know and love Warren, he is a member of Congress, and I think he's from Tennessee. He's a great person to help keep Warren's memory alive and help us move legislation as well. What else do I want to say? I think the album cover for Record Store Day for your dad's album is like way cool. The album cover is like Hollywood and cool. This is what the album cover will look like, not with Judd's picture, but it's this great Hollywood. So obviously Capitol Records, Hollywood, Route 66. So not only can you support Warren and obviously some of the proceeds will benefit ADO, but more importantly, you're going to raise awareness with every vinyl that you buy. Jordan has taken a lot of time to work on this. You've got Every Sandwich, and you've got obviously Grim Reaper.
Enjoy Every Sandwich.
Enjoy Every Sandwich. Yeah, but you've got a sandwich down here on the bottom. So it's a very cool album cover, Jordan. I don't know how much of the art you added to it, but it's.
I had nothing to do with it. They sent it to me, and I was like, "This is awesome." I mean, been working with Rhino for years, and the amount of care and dedication to what they do has just kind of been limitless.
So maybe when they totally rock Record Store Day, we'll have a whole convo with Rhino and maybe Judd or someone from Judd's team talking about the album cover, because the art behind it is really cool. Are you ready to play?
I think so. I I might make a gaff or two.
We don't care.
Because I didn't get to rehearse this because of the lack of sleep. But here we go. Can you hear that okay?
Yeah.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly called when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart. Hold me in your thoughts. Touch me as I fall into view. And when the winter comes, keep the fires lit, and I will be right next to you. Keep me in your heart for a while. Engine drivers headed north to Pleasant Street. Keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while.
I always need a tissue after you sing that song, because I can imagine.
Sorry for the imperfections, everybody. I really should have practiced more, but like I can't even see the lyrics because my glasses are steaming up because it's so hot in here.
It was perfect. And Patricia and I are both saying that your performance in your dad's song brought us to tears. It always does. And I'm sure when your dad was writing it, maybe you knew it would be a Grammy-winning album and song, but knowing it was your dad's probably last would have been bittersweet, of course. We got 4 minutes left. Does anybody have a question for Jordan? We definitely want you to be able to buy that album from Rhino Records. Is that how that works? It's through Rhino?
I think the concept is that you need to go into the record store to support brick and mortar businesses as opposed to like ordering it online. That may change after Record Store Day, but You know, I think that that we want to support those businesses, especially now, because I mean, I can count the record stores in Los Angeles, of all places, on like one hand.
Yeah, I remember the Tower Records on Sunset used to be the coolest thing. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left. I really want to thank everybody for joining the conversation with Jordan. And Jordan, thank you for performing, and thank you to Judd for the video. You know, you got a whole circle of a big family, not only the Reinstein family, Jordan, that surrounds the Zevon family, but you got a whole lot of people here. Maddie's writing, you can search here, find. Okay, Maddie, we'll make sure we put that in the blog. I'm going to do a quick, Nicole, if you'll cut and paste that so we don't lose that chat. Yeah, available October 24th, says Jason. So there's a whole lot going on with ADAO. Keep us in your friendship circle, connect and share. Jordan's going to pull out a rabbit from his hat. But it's a silver lining club, as one of our supporters always says. Marilyn, she always says it's bittersweet how we all come together, but more importantly, those of you who are listening and those of you who have lost a loved one or who might be fighting, it is important to know that we're not alone, and together I truly believe we make change happen. What do you got, Jordan?
Well, if you want to support Rhino online, glow in the dark, red vinyl, excitable boy. So pretty cool.
So who do you want to say thank you to? You got a long list.
Everybody, especially you. I love your granny couch in the background.
I got rock and roll name tags over here.
All your lanyards.
I don't get too many of those. But maybe
After being a publicist at Arista for like 10 years, I had so many of those that my metal coat rack fell over, and I was like, maybe it's time to put these in a box.
trash my way. Okay, so you better say sayonara and thank you to all your friends, because this is going to end. And please, everybody, stay connected. There's some nice messages, you know, some thank yous. And Indie Record Store Day, October 24th. Yes, Maddie will have that link. And to all of you who joined us, we're going to have this video obviously in our thank you blog, Jordan, so people can hear the conversation and listen to you perform. But it's also on Facebook. So go on Facebook, send it to the Warren Zevon pages that you all might have, and Rhino Records. Let's get some play out of this. And most importantly, help us to shape public policy and finally stop the imports of use of asbestos. For Warren to die at such a young age, and Steve McQueen and so many others, my husband, we can do more together, and we're looking forward to getting it done.
And don't let anyone keep you from voting.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't get my driver's license till I was 18, so I was hitching rides from 16 on, but I've never missed a vote since I turned 18. And the last, it was a small election here, and the garage that I used to go to down the street was no longer there, hosting it, and I had to go to the mall down the street, and there were people that had been waiting for 3 hours, and I just gave up. It was it was literally as if somebody was just trying to make it as difficult to vote as possible. I filled in my mail-in registration, but the post office is being tampered with. I will wait overnight like I did on the sidewalk to see Empire Strikes Back to vote this November. So vote, 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 vote.
Yeah, and that's great, Jordan. And vote early. And this is going to be a life-changing election, needless to say. So maybe we should do a voter registration, a little Q&A, because I know there's a lot of stuff with Pod Save America and some great young millennials and Gen Zers that are working on this. Okay, that's it. In your business, you'd say that's a wrap? Maybe?
Me?
Yep.
No, usually, oh God, you're going to make me think of the expression. Well, I can't remember the expression, but it's basically when it gets so late that you start making stupid decisions because you're it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you've had 5 cappuccinos, and now you're changing parts of songs, and you're going, oh no, this is the proceeds are outweighing the the work. So so that's what we say in the music business, just kind of call it a wrap as the movie, and just we're not making good decisions. It's the music.
Great Vision. We're going to thank everybody. Thank you, Jordan Sammers and Jordan Zevon, my bro. I love you. Thank you.
I love you too. Thank you, everybody.
I was listening to the air conditioner hum.